Much for joining us today. Call this meeting to order. We are the Downtown Advisory Board. Let's get this started. First up, you want to take a moment just to look at the minutes from last month's meeting. And this would be a time to review those minutes and make a motion to approve them as presented or to make any changes.
It's classic.
Move to approve the minutes. Second.
Thank you. First and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Minutes are approved. Next up, do we have anyone in the room or on the call for public comment?
I thought I'm joining, let me just see. Who is that just joined on now?
Who's Cheryl?
This is Cheryl, she's on the board. Cheryl, you can listen to the meeting, but we can't do votes virtually. But we've got a
Okay.
forum, but you're welcome to chime in or raise your hand if you got any kind of comments during the meeting.
Excellent, thank you.
Who is that?
So-
I'm on mute, yeah.
All right, no one in the room for public comment today? All right. Move on to the agenda as presented. This is time to look at the agenda. And we entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented or to make any changes.
Move to approve as is.
Second. Thank you. Yeah, Joe on the first and Mark on the second. All in favor, please?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Agenda's approved. And we go right into team and staff reports.
So just a couple of housekeeping things. It was brought to my attention that our November meeting is Veterans Day. And so city government is closed. So we can either not have a November meeting, which I don't have anything particularly that as of right now that needs to be addressed on it. And then just meet in November or December, unless there's a desire to reschedule it. We'll still have committee meetings. If there are any concern.
Will we be dealing with basically turkey trot, Thanksgiving?
Yeah, there really wouldn't be any, unless there's something that comes up between now and then. I don't have any
Is
particular,
there more rhythm of grooves? Is the last one or Thursday's last one?
yeah. We can always,
Have any, well, facade grants are now with economic vitality.
Mhm.
Correct.
yeah, the committees will still meet. So if there is anything that comes up in a committee meeting that first week that feels like it can't wait until the December board meetings, then we can do a special call meeting, but I can't think of anything that would be,
Is there
Requiring
anything
urgent action.
that we have to talk about here for December?
no, nothing that would, because we'll go through some of that this time around. But there's nothing that would require any kind of voting or anything. So if everyone's okay with it, we'll just,
So you're looking for a vote for that meeting to,
I can just put through that it's canceled, just want to make everybody aware on that. But if anything comes up in the meantime, we can do a called meeting. And then also you probably received an email from Jill about the board and commission reception. The RSVP deadline was yesterday, but you can still go on and do it today. Let's do it tonight if you have it. And because I checked and the link is still live when I left earlier. And so that we did that last year for the city boards, and it's kind of nice because you could like meet some of the different board members and some of the other boards. Okay. And then and I wasn't able to send this out because we had two different special or specific event meetings yesterday and today. And so I wanted to have that in this agenda for today. So T-Rex Parade and the Loft Tour are two new things that we've got some more information on. And let's kind of give a little update on the T-Rex Parade.
Yeah, so in the downtown updates, you'll see that we have a flyer that we sent out to businesses. We are now live. The T-Rex Parade is now open to sign up. The event itself is on February 7th at starting around 2 o'clock. The route starts at the visitor center, that's where it's staged. And then we go up Main Street north, back down to the south, finishing at Oklahoma, where we're gonna have a design contest. So pretty straightforward event, and this year's theme is Mountain Mardi Gras. But right now, we're really looking to get people signed up. So we want to spread the word as much as possible. I know Nancy and Joe were on that meeting this morning. They're helping out a lot with that. But if you guys know people or yourself as businesses want to participate, this is going to be a really fun community event. And it goes to a great cause with the Apple Wood Crafters. I'm sure some of you guys remember when Bob and Don came and presented earlier this year. So yeah, please spread the word.
Jump the wagon.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the wagons that we'll be decorating, or the crews will be decorating. The Apple Country Wood Crafters will be delivering these upon completion of sign up. And like I said, the theme is Mountain Mardi Gras, so it's up to the interpretation of the cruise. You can do a giant mountain on it, you can add bears, trees, whatever you want. The Friends of Downtown are gonna do one, so, you know, if you wanna
Cool.
compete with us and see if you can make a better float, come on, I dare you. But if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer anything. Right now, we're kind of just getting started. And then if anybody would like to help, please let me know, please contact me, and, you know, the more the merrier.
And one thing with that, like, what really kind of appeals to me about this event is something going on in February when it's slow. And with Mardi Gras, there's so many different things you can do around it, like not even just the parade itself. And so, but I'd like to try it this year and for future years is to get, you know, businesses when they say like, it's dead in here in January. If we can advertise some type of Mardi Gras related event leading up to the little parade before and after and during, but there's so many things you can do around Mardi Gras stuff. And so that's what we'd really want to try to encourage businesses to do, not even just Main Street, but 7th Avenue. Like I could see like maybe the Art League wants to do something related to it or something similar. So just something to keep in mind for you all as our downtown board.
No street closures. And a dinosaur.
Yes.
Rex.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll just get the word out on that. And then the second thing is the loft tours. So we brought that up before we met with Sam with the Historic Preservation Commission to get a date set for that. That's gonna be with the Historic Preservation Commission, but we're helping them with that. And then as a result, we'll get funds from the proceeds from the tours to go towards facade grants. So we set the date, and this will be like upper floor residential in downtown, kind of like a historic tour of homes, but loft tour. And we've done something similar before I was here. I think Patsy, you said you had participated in it, right? And so Sam's already got a few that are signed on for it. But we've got the date set for Saturday, March 28th from 11 to 4. We were thinking around 7 to 8 downtown lofts. Like I mentioned, portion of the funds will go towards facade grants. Sam thinks that 500 tickets is a pretty good goal. And he based that off of, they do the Cookie Caper Holiday Inn tour and sold 250 tickets for that. And that's just going basically into some inns, lobbies, not even into some folks' homes. And so if there are anybody who is interested in being involved with that, we're going to try to pitch it over more to the Historic Preservation Commission's Community Outreach Committee. And they meet the first Wednesday in November at 11. So if anybody's interested in being involved at that event, just let me know and we can get you on that list. We're also to try to incorporate activity or active going in and out of businesses. We're going to have we'll have a booklet that has information on or the law. But also having, like a sheet or page in that has any businesses that want to provide any type of discount for people to come into their store. And then the other new-ish event or promotion, I should say, that we're working on is holiday window contest. Terry, you want to talk a little bit on the Christmas windows?
Sure. Yep, so, in the past, Christmas windows on Main Street used to be a really, really big deal. I used to have a place on Main Street, and way back when everybody decorated windows, they would decorate their whole building, they would line their entire building in lights. It was really quite the display. And we got some good response when we did the Apple Festival window display contest. People were asking, are we gonna do the Christmas display contest again? Which was something that the TDA had actually done in the past. But I don't think they were planning to do that any longer. So from the response of people really wanting to do that, we're now gonna do the Christmas window display, which is going to be very much like the Apple Festival window display. It's got a Camino form, that is already actually out. People can say whether they are or not doing the window display, the Christmas display window. That's actually an opportunity also for them to say what they might be doing, what anyone's doing in their business, whether they're staying open later evenings or any of that kind of thing that they're doing throughout the holiday season. So I'm really excited to really bring back that Christmas window display contest and have everybody participate. The lights on Main Street in the trees are beautiful, but it makes an even bigger impact when all the windows are lit up too. It just makes it an incredible vision along the street. So we're excited to get that back and going again and trying to make that bigger and bigger, like the old-fashioned Christmas has become bigger and bigger each year, and kind of really bringing back those traditions.
And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I see that you're including 7th Avenue. But there'll be no lights, or there'll be a few lights. I know we have immature trees on 7th Avenue, but I mean, how can 7th Avenue be decorated up like?
So that's where the store, for this year, where the stores, because we talked with our Christmas lights people, and because of how young the trees are, we're not gonna be able to do Christmas lights on the trees this year, but we are doing fresh lights on the depot. But really, that's what Terry is saying for Main Street. They did that really before we did all of the investment in the Christmas lights, because then the stores had the decoration and the lights up. So really, it would be the best way for this year in particular or really ever for businesses is decorating for Christmas time. Because like if you're especially a retail oriented business and you're not decorating for Christmas, then you're kind of missing out on that. But we'll have like a map and everything together for that.
Well, you have that, and I know I mentioned it to you, have that box for Santa letters. I know you can't.
Oh, yeah.
Where were you planning on putting that and when?
I don't know. We haven't figured that out yet.
It's a big mailbox that was in Main Event, and actually Diane Dean bought it, and then we contacted this downtown and they bought it from us. It wasn't native, but I will say that I'm hearing, and I don't know other people on 7th Avenue, that while we're trying to cooperate and not put signage out, we have no signage unless it's right in front of our store. And if you're on Locust, for instance, actually, I've even heard from people on 7th who wish there was one from Locust pointing to them on 7th Avenue. I mean, we obviously promote each other, because I know, like, I send folks to Phil and mention everybody, but and Phil, you guys have been great to mention but number of people would love some kind of signage until the grants come for regular signage for the business on 7th and Locust. Can we not have a temporary, you know, exemption or something, since it'll be a while before we get.
Well, we just had where we had to take all the extra signs down because people were complaining about them, so then be going back and.
That's not on Seventh, you're talking about Main Street.
No, that was the bigger one was on Seventh. And so then I had to call and tell everybody to take their signs down because there was too many out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a bunch.
That's when y'all had to remove your signs before.
We had one little,
Yeah,
one, that's.
oh yeah, but it was a lot of them.
So are you specifically talking about like businesses that are off of Seventh that are looking for wayfinding?
I mean, you know, and Maple, obviously, there's a lot more retail,
Yeah.
food, gallery.
I mean, I know we had talked at least once about doing some type of similar to what we have on Main Street for the avenues.
Yeah, and that was in,
Down Locust and putting down Maple for businesses that are down there, but as far as signage for businesses on Seventh Avenue proper, I mean, what would we suggest?
I was just asked by a number of people if there's, I mean, obviously, we're half a block off Locust, but, I mean, it wasn't just.
So you're talking about something more like at the top of Seventh Avenue, directing people that are in the Main Street district to kind of.
Well, you know, and here's, but just, I know we'll go down the agenda. I talked to a couple of businesses in Seventh Avenue who did not know it was the downtown creative edge. Never knew that was what the character was of the Seventh Avenue district. And are hoping that more of that can be used to promote the Seventh Avenue Locust Maple area, because there is a lot of activity and growth going on there, but we need to let people know. And I've had Seventh Avenue, and I mentioned Bellwether, but I know even Pasta Shop around the corner in Maple, they all would love whatever it can make people aware of where they are.
Well, I mean, I think that definitely would be in purview of community character.
we're on events right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it would be nice to be able to tell people that it's receptive to discussion until we do get grants, because we don't know. I know you've submitted something, you're hoping, right? Aren't you hoping?
Yeah, but that's not like, that,
It was not for a while.
yeah, and I've said before that right now, any sign that we put at the corner there is gonna get run over by a truck.
Most of the complaints are like a bunch of leftovers from like before the construction was done. That was on the back of like Main Street near Bruce Drysdale and like that type of area. So could we put like maybe the big, like businesses still open during construction sign, like near the construction where people might hit it? Maybe somewhere near the police station. Because everyone, all the businesses have a sign, have like an A-frame right outside of their store. You're just looking for something on the little ancillary. like,
And we have one right at
Streets, yeah. Those bellwethers in them.
Can we table this to new business?
I agree, they should have been on the
Get back on
agenda.
track.
my apologies.
Better window displays in this,
Yeah.
a left turn.
I had a question about Christmas stuff too.
Yeah.
Go back to
Try
that.
to go back to the window.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't go, but it started with.
So is,
So Seventh Avenue businesses and all of downtown should and are invited to participate in the window display
so
contest.
does the city, we talked about lights for the window displays on, or the lights on Main Street. Did the city get wreaths for Seventh Ave? Do we have?
Yeah, they've been there.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we've got reasons for the light posts themselves, but there won't be any city provided exterior illumination. So the idea is to encourage businesses to light up,
Yeah, sure.
up the storefront.
And there will be next
Yeah.
year,
And the train depot is gonna look, I mean, those guys have out there doing a lot of work, so that's gonna look great.
because they haven't been replaced in about 5 years at the depot, so there'll be new lights there, and so we put the funds that we had budgeted for lights for Seventh on doing the depot for this year, because the trees just aren't going, like, there's some trees that are gonna have to be replaced that didn't make it through, and they're under warranty and all this other stuff.
Is Seventh included in the Peppermint Bear? Y'all know what that is?
Yeah, I did.
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
The what?
I remember.
That's on the TDA.
Yeah,
And I can, yeah, I don't know if that,
that's like a scavenger hunt.
yeah, I know that, I'm just not sure if that would be good to ask them on that,
And they should totally have that.
I feel like they just closed the Peppermint Bear
Oh.
stuff.
I think it has to be next year, but.
Yeah, it'd be next year. I think it was a couple weeks ago.
back to the Christmas windows. You said y'all had questions?
Mine was about the wreaths for the Christmas.
And is there gonna be reminders going out, more emails? 'Cause I didn't see one. Okay, cool. I may have just missed it.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And we did, so the Apple Festival one, because we kind of were gifted that competition. It's city or county wide, citywide, Apple windows. And so for the holiday ones, because we don't want to be driving all over the city for our downtown window display competition. And so for Christmas, it's really is, downtown Matrix 7th Avenue proper. Not necessarily outside of the area. And then, so just kind of, we'll just run through this, not really give you much details because it's all written down, but Rhythm and Brews, we do have our last show Thursday. This coming week, it's gonna be nice out. And, if anyone's ever volunteered at Rhythm and Brews, we do have some spots available to sign up. So feel free to join us. It's a good experience if you haven't ever done it before, just to see all of our volunteers and everybody that we've got out there. We're looking good on our income for the event. And then bear auction, as of earlier today, when I finalized this document, it was 114,400. We sold 8 of them, like on the first day for the $10,000.
Right.
I included in the packet, just so y'all have it, what we sent out to the new updates on the sponsorship. So that way, there's one that asks on what we talked about last month as far as the not checking, but the vetting.
How does that compare to last year?
For the bear auction,
I don't know whether this one.
I think the final was 140 last year. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's more sold the first day, but it's probably about the same amount that we had sold by the time the auction started. I think. I can't remember, but it's
Still.
yeah, it's good. And so then October 25th, we have the countdown celebration for the auction. That's at the historic courthouse. And because we had so many fairs want to sell so fast, next year we're gonna plan on reducing the length of time for the virtual auction down to 2 weeks, because when it's a month and a bear sells for $10,000 and then it stays on the street for a month, it makes us very nervous. So just trying to reduce the time between sold and taken away.
Maybe increase that buy it now price by like over 10%.
We talked about, we feel like we're at kind of a sweet spot for it, so we're kind of
Selling this.
thinking of it. Yeah, so that's just quick little bear update. And then Treat Street Carnival, again, comes up as always on Halloween.
So the street closes at noon that day and the festival starts at
5.
5.
And so we help with the Parks and Rec. Henderson County Parks and Rec does the majority of that event coordinate with all the people and the bounce houses and all of that. And we do the costume contests. And I had sent out to the businesses in the past, we had gotten candy to supplement, and we do not have candy sources
What did you,
this year.
I know this is putting you on the spot, but roughly how much candy was donated in the past?
So Ingalls had done it up until last year, and it was diminishing in amounts year by year. It was like they would bring like a truckload, and then it was less and less and less, and then last year it was like, yeah, and like gum. And but then last year, because of the hurricane,
Donation.
yeah, the Parks and Rec, and I think all over Western North Carolina towns got big, huge donations of candy for hurricane stuff, yeah. And so that's just not something we've been able to get, and Ingalls is, I think, not doing too great after the hurricane stuff, so they've kind of peeled back on a lot.
I can start conversations with our candy
Oh,
facility.
yeah.
I don't know if it's possible or not, but it struck me when I saw that on the agenda. I was like,
I never even thought about that. That makes perfect sense.
yeah, we have a candy warehouse up in Boone. And usually have leftovers that we have 11 locations that would
Mhm.
send, you know, soon to be out of date candy or surplus or whatever. So we do need to provide it for ourselves first, but there's a good chance we have
Yes,
some amount
that,
to donate.
that's great. That's something that never even occurred to me to think about asking. Yeah, and part of, when it first started with the candy donation, that was before they had done all of the stuff with bringing in the outside people giving out candy. So then it was just all on the shoulders of the merchants, where it was like, I don't know how much y'all spend on candy, probably like $1,000 on candy, and because kids would just go up the street and down because the street wasn't even closed. And then once the streets started being closed and all of these other nonprofits came in, it's, if the businesses choose not to have candy to give out, nobody even notices necessarily. So it's a little bit of a lighter load, hopefully. And then I've got in the packet, in that downtown updates packet, there's a flyer of our downtown holiday events. It's what we use for advertising for it. So those are just all the events that we've got, including the farmers market holiday markets. So those are the 2 holiday events that we do in 7. And then upcoming farmers market events that we've got noted here. Trick or Trail 5K, that's with the IDAP events, and then the Thanksgiving Christmas market. And then I said this last time too, so I'm not gonna say much, but Turkey Trot and Christmas Parade are some other events that are coming up that we don't do, but we work with them all on. I mentioned before, Turkey Trot's getting taken, the Hope Coalition is now doing the Turkey Trot. And Christmas Parade will be first Saturday in December. Okay, that's our event update. Is there any questions on events? Cool. Okay, economic vitality. And I can chime in on the buskers and then I'll turn it over to you. This came up at the board meeting. About we voted on recommending on the no electronic amplification for street performers. So we took that to the legal department, and there is case law that says that you cannot regulate the type of amplification. So you can't say no electronic amplification. It's really on volume. And so what the legal has told me is that what's in our current noise ordinance is enforceable, even though I didn't necessarily know that it was for it. It's 75 decibels in the Main Street district from the complaining adjoining property, basically is what it is. So if someone is in a business, and legal might have to clarify some of this for me, so take this for my understanding of it until I get it all written out in a sheet. But like the adjoining property complaint, so if it's like somebody outside of a business, that business complaining about volume would be within their rights to, or really, and I don't know if that considers anyone just walking on the street or not. I tried.
Like if someone was in front of Hannah's, the music company, the music store could complain. But
If,
McFarland's, I mean, you couldn't, because they're not.
I'm not sure that I have a good, clear advice on that yet, so I'm still trying to figure that out. Because also the 75 decibels,
Inside the building?
no, outside.
Okay.
And because I tried,
That's pretty loud.
yeah, I tried to download a decibel reader app on my phone and go on Friday when they were being loud out there, and I missed them by the time I had it downloaded, so I didn't check. But then I tried to like figure out what volume level 75 decibels is. And I think,
Rhythm and Bruce, like.
yeah,
2 blocks back. from the-
yeah, I'll check then. I'll check.
That wouldn't pertain to like when Joe has like concerts outside, because that's a permanent event. This is more for like buskers, right?
Yeah, special events are different, but just like if his bar is having 75 decibels or louder from the neighboring property, like if they can hear it from their
Marco's Pizza.
location, then they could call and complain about it,
Gotcha.
and report it. But, anyway, I'm still trying to, basically what I'm trying to do is get the information together into like a pamphlet to be able to hand out to the performers to try to be more of like a self-policing scenario, because enforcing it for decibel level, I just don't see how they're gonna be able to do that ever.
Have there been complaints?
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten calls and then, yeah, and then I've just noticed,
Does that go,
Okay.
or is that a general noise ordinance? So if people are driving down?
So that's the only way that they can enforce it. And from the way I understand, it's kind of like trespassing. Like if somebody's right here in my space being loud, I can say, hey, can you leave? And then if they don't, now you're trespassing, I can call the police and the police can like make you leave. But it has to be initiated by whoever like is in that space. So like, you're right,
Because I had
Farlands
some-
might not be able to if it's across the street from them, even though they're affected by the noise, it's not like in their space. And even then, the cops say, hey, you move, they go down the block and
Yeah.
legally.
It's someone else.
Yeah.
Cause I had a former chief from a different city at our shop and a car drove by with the music pounding. And he was like, that would never have flown in our city because there's
And that's.
noise ordinance. And if people drive by like that, the police will
I mean,
hit them.
that would be, some of those cars, I'm sure, are above the noise limit,
Yes.
and that could be enforced. However,
We have to
you
catch
have to
them.
have, somebody,
Police officer on me.
Officer right there.
yeah, to be able to, to be able to just watch for noisy cars all day long. To be able to get them and then, because if somebody called in, it's like, it'd be a lot easier to call in on a busker on the street than it would a car driving down the road, but I agree, those are even louder.
Well, what about putting signs out? Because I know in Greenville, they have signs up that say about, I don't remember how much the fine was, but you could be fined and it's for X amount of dollars for the loud
the cars?
Yeah,
I could ask
Because-
that.
I mean, those, quite frankly, I think are worse than somebody entertaining on the street. I think
Mhm.
those cars are some of them
There's
are
a-
ridiculous.
There's a couple locals that have like speakers outside the
Yes.
cars, like megaphone speakers.
Motorcycle.
The guy on the motorcycle, yeah.
And
It's just annoying, but they.
They keep going.
Most of them are. So if you put that up and they know that mommy and daddy could get a fine for them
Yeah.
on the street, maybe they'll
Great.
stop.
See, if you're, the buskers are great, but I could see if you're sitting on a patio eating a meal
Mhm.
Yeah.
and they're cranking loud, you probably don't.
Yeah, they just turn it down a couple of notches and they probably,
That's why the whole idea was not to have amplified, because if it's just acoustic, it's
Yeah.
much more,
yeah, that's what I would.
you know, it's easier to absorb rather than some guy with the speaker just like, and don't get me wrong, I love the guy who plays the electric metal guitar. He's,
Mm.
but it's really loud,
Is
Yeah.
really loud.
75 is relatively high, like my gas plant leaf blower is 85.
Yeah,
We all know how obnoxious
Yeah.
those,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, signs for the street or for the cars might be something, and I can ask on that. And then, yeah, that's really what I'm trying to do with the buskers is just kind of have a guidelines that, so then if anyone like.
You in that, they have to be on a corner as well?
Yeah, that it's gonna have the locations for them, because the ordinance does say on corners. And so it's gonna have like a map that has the locations that are allowable for it. And I was trying to do this months ago when I was first noticing it. And I was gonna put that it was no electronic amplification, because I thought that's what was already in the ordinance, and then that's what started all this.
Well, a lot of them, they're so nice, even if you
Mhm.
go up and have a dialogue with them and just say, hey, do you mind turning
Yeah.
it down a little bit? Because I've actually done that.
That's kind of where
And they've
we're,
done it. Yeah,
that's kind of where we're at currently. Legally, we can't like put up a sign and say we're gonna
Right.
charge you a fine without city council getting involved.
yeah.
Yeah.
But anybody can just go talk to this person and say, hey, can you turn it down a little bit? And they'll probably be receptive to it. And it's probably gonna be more effective like that, but it's gonna be people in here that
Yeah.
can initiate that and kind of spread the word about.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking is if somebody had a physical thing they can hand to people that just has kind of just,
It's not the rules.
Guidelines.
Can you do this?
yeah.
So do you know if the city ordinance specifies an average or a peak?
It's
90 decibels, you said?
at 75. It's based, so there's a Main Street area decibel level, which I think is higher than residential. Do you remember? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Um,
We did this so long
This was
ago.
a while ago, but it's based off of, there's a whole thing in the ordinance and I'm just gonna
See,
tell you what it is.
this room is running at 69 dB average for the 79 high peak. And if you're going on the street, you know, it's easy
Mhm.
to get something that peaks, but for it to average itself over a period of time. I spent 10 years in this business when I was much younger. But, so there is, depending on what the ordinance says, there's a big difference between the two, you know, failures to comply.
Yeah, and they went through and did a whole big update on it a few years ago, but it was really more targeted about noise from inside a building and the neighboring buildings complaining about it. So I'm not sure on it does have all of the details about the methodology, but there's a lot in it, so I'm not gonna be able to answer that right now. Because it was a whole big several month long ordeal with them working on that.
Can somebody just show up and start playing on the street, or do they have to get permission?
No, they can just come up and play. And it came up about doing some type of permit, but the administrative work of keeping up with a permit like that just seems like more trouble than it's worth. Because
Legally, you have the right to assemble and play music if you
Yeah.
want outside.
places do permits for things like that, but I just don't get into doing that. If we can avoid it. Okay.
Um,
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So we talked about that and we still have an update, or we're still working on the building inventory and vacancy policy. Apart from that, we talked about unhoused resources. This is the kind of homeless situation that I see a lot of on Seventh Avenue. It's gotten noticeably worse compared to last year and the years prior. The mission feeds people 3 times a day, and I have like the pay it forward board at my restaurant. Maybe last year I would get 5 or so homeless people a week looking for food. Right now I'm feeding 5 to 10 people a day, every day. It's definitely some of the same faces where they've kind of learned like, oh, this is an okay place to come, but every day I'm seeing new faces too. So it feels noticeably different on the ground than it did last year. And I just wanted to kind of tentatively put out what kind of resources are available that we have that we don't need to like, you know, pass a city ordinance on or take a vote or anything like that, and things that we can actually actively do currently. I really want to publicly celebrate the housing authority and the kind of low income housing that's on like Harris Street and Fifth, over on First and by the Boys and Girls Club. I employ a lot of people that benefit from those, and they're just normal, hardworking people. It's a super, super important resource that would keep a lot of people, working families, from being homeless. But there's a lot of new homeless, a lot of people living out of their cars, a lot of people just passing through Hendersonville, and for ideas that we could do to kind of funnel that, or at least channel the problem and kind of keep rails on it a little bit. So I had an idea of like just a printout laminated card that the businesses could hold of like, here's a list of resources that you can go. I did this a little bit last year and kind of went around to churches and stuff and just asked like if you provide anything, and there's kind of a problem where if we print out something like that and we have a resource list, you have to get approval of the organization to do something like that, and nobody wants to be like, yeah, just send everybody to me, you know, come on, like nobody wants to do that, even if you provide this sort of service. So it's kind of a weird space, like there is a need. There isn't many resources available right now. The Hendersonville Mission's the only game in town. but I'm at kind of a communication phase right now, like how do I communicate to the people on the ground? The homeless people that are around and, you know, I'm middleman in between the city and them. There's a need there that both parties have, and they're kind of showing up to me and say, hey, do you have anything I can eat?
The mission does have a list of other resources for them that they keep at the front desk. And they also have information where you can go to get medical help or transportation. They kind of own it, so I don't know if they'd share it.
Okay, that's the idea that I had though, and even just being able to tell people like the mission feeds people 3 times a day it helps me. I personally don't mind dealing with it and I can, you know, get problem people out and prevent a problem before it happens, but I can't be there all the time. Sometimes I got a teenager on the register, a homeless person comes in talking crazy. It would be nice for that person to say, we don't do that here, go to this place, you know?
And after we met, because the city doesn't, like, that I'm not necessarily a part of, they've got like an unhoused resource group that meets regularly. And so I talked to Jenny Floyd, who's the staff person who works with that. And she's gonna come, asked her to come to the November meeting, and that's how I found out that close on the November meeting day. And so she's gonna come to a future meeting just to be able to kind of give an update to this board on what resources and things that she's aware of. She did mention one, I think it's gonna come with her to speak about it, called Love and Respect. And she said that that group is really doing a lot and kind of a lot of times their first call on a lot of things. Cause I think they'll just go like help people kind of directly, or bring them in. And, she also did say to me that, they're expecting it to probably get worse, just with the federal sources not going to be available for a lot of the unhoused folks. And so that will probably have kind of a ripple effect. And she already also mentioned that the Salvation Army, I think, has some different leadership, and they've changed, like the previous leadership had been much more active in like encampments and stuff like that. And then now the current leaders aren't so much. And so they're already seeing kind of they're seeing it, and I say that because they're seeing an effect from that one thing locally. And so that's probably going to become more of it's going to be probably more things that businesses will probably see more of.
So the conversation was on what's the smartest way that we can deal with this. It's going to cost the city money. It's going to cost businesses like me money. We're spending money on this problem already. What's the smartest way that we can do that could hopefully save money, big picture? And so that's why I like celebrating the housing authority. I think that's incredibly effective. It's super, super important for everybody that benefits from it. There's some complaints about drug activity around those areas, you know, that's low income. Those people tend to not last very long, and the amount of good is tremendously outweighing the harm of having those things. So I think that's a good example of like smart money that the city has done. The Mill Street apartments, that's a huge success. Stuff like that is kind of the big goal that I would like to think about and talk about, but small scale right now, there's things that we can do that doesn't require like a city initiative or voting or money spent or anything like that. So kind of starting there.
Well, I think especially pertaining to Seventh Avenue District, you know, a big part of the conversation, especially, you know, some benefit that I could see would be trying to get a representative from the mission kind of at the table, because we haven't had that voice in this board for quite a while. I can tell you that what I've seen is an uptick in like transient individuals are using the services at the mission from a meal basis, not necessarily overnight basis. So we see a lot of that. And with that, if you're just going to the mission to get meals, it's gates open, gates locked, gates open, gates locked. So a lot of folks are coming to the gate while it's locked and they don't know what to do while they're waiting to get in for the next meal. So this is not a blame thing on the mission. It's just more of awareness of how the mission operates, and that I think, you know, I think to have a representative from the mission, at least be able to have a discussion with them about, I mean, I've done this over the years. I think it's very helpful for them to see what's happening peripherally, because they're very much focused on what's happening in their facility, and they do a lot of great stuff for people. Don't get me wrong, I know that firsthand, but as far as what's happening, when folks are let out and the gates locked back up, they're not so much aware of that. So from hearing from businesses about, and again, these are not, the folks that you're talking about aren't necessarily, well, I mean, a lot of that traffic is coming down Seventh Avenue because of the services that the mission provides. So they're in the district for a reason, and they're generally speaking, not causing problems. But you're right, there's definitely been an uptick, especially in the non-overnight population that we see. People that are not actually staying at the mission, they're driving up in their car, they're staying in their cars, or they're maybe not getting into the mission, which is another issue. Seeing more and more of that where folks are not being let in because of
They have to give up drugs and they have to do this and there's requirements, and they do have set meal times. And they only unlock those gates for those set meal times, but they advertise what they are.
They're on the sign, right, they are, but I just think, I think this is a good reminder for me that, the rescue mission used to be involved in these meetings, and they haven't been in quite a while. So the district has changed. There's obviously more folks around that are in need of services. So, I mean, just, if there's a way, economic vitality, can chat to them,
I will say I was at a meeting yesterday and the city, he brought up, John Connick brought it up, that they're well aware of the, increasing population. I think they have hired somebody that I can't remember what department they're working in, but they're also looking at trying to get, to your point, places that people can get certain help and everything to where it'd be easy to say here, or there is a person in the city that either works for a police department or somebody that you can call. They know all of the ins and outs. They can help, because some of the folks that are coming here are now needing different help other than just food. So they're well aware of it, and I think this is fairly new. And they are trying to figure it out because they have seen and noticed that it is increasing.
Yeah.
And what my goal would be with the board and the committee even is, like, we're not gonna be the ones that are gonna solve any of it, but to, especially since there's so many groups already doing a lot, is to bring some folks in. So that way we all know who's doing what, and kind of gives a bit of a overview on those kind of things. And so then that way also you can tell your employees, or call for help. And then also if you hear other people, talking about the problems that are increasing or getting worse, you can at least be able to tell them what things that are going on and where they can direct people to and all that. So that's pretty much it with the economic vitality and the community character. Patsy?
Yes, we met and we spent a good couple of meetings talking about the proposed policy for art. And it was a lot of word analysis, if you will, but we've got halfway through it. And once we get it complete, we'll obviously bring it to the entire board, but it's a good beginning. And our first art will be the bench once we get that painted and installed.
Yeah, and I included that in the agenda. That's just a copy of what the proposal that I submitted with the grant application to do more of the benches, because we bought the one, but then we don't have money for anything else. So I just wanted to include that too. But yeah, sorry, Patsy, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's all right. The public art policy is also trying to, consider out the makeup of public art. So many different acronyms. I will come up with the same one, but who would be on that commission or committee to help promote the arts and bring in art? And a lot of what we're looking at is perhaps having sculptures that are on loan for like a year that may be for sale. And then and perhaps we'll even look at working with other cities that have them, and once it rotates out of that city, it might make it to our city, so. So yeah, it's a work in progress. Interestingly enough, I was also approached by, I think it was president of Augusta Trail. They're looking for public art for the trail, so.
Maybe we should get one of them involved, somebody from there involved on the committee.
Yeah, part of it is county, but it, the Cooster Trail is promoted very much by our city, so he gave me his card and had, I think they would probably be worthwhile getting them
It'd
involved.
probably be good in general just to have somebody from Coosa on that committee.
Yeah, that's going gangbusters, is everybody.
We talked, probably the same folks. We talked back in the spring. The trail has got a number of neighbors from here to the end. And a number of those property owners have offered to loan space on the trail as pullovers for picnics, for rest stop, whatever. And those locations, and they haven't identified them yet, but those locations would present optimal locations to put sculpture pads. So, yeah, the sculpture trail could extend from, 7th or the parks, all the way out to the shoes as it is now.
Yeah, we should, if you've got the contact for that person, Patsy, we should invite them to our next meeting. Okay, yeah, that seems like a good.
And just a little sidebar, Sue Fazio is selling a lot of art at the nonprofit Art League, Art Place Gallery. And 100% of whatever she sells goes to the Boys and Girls Club. She doesn't keep any of it. So if you want to shop and buy art and make it go to the Boys and Girls Club, it'll be until the end, November 1st. It's great. And also stop at all the Art on 7th and all the local art galleries.
That's all I got. Here.
What's that?
I was going to say, that's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah, on our update, yeah.
Okay.
Let me just make sure I didn't have any, yeah. But these are all upcoming sponsorship, or not sponsorship, volunteer opportunities that we've got left. Throughout the end of the year, and then I've already talked about the other attachments. Yeah, that's all I have.
All right, well, thank you. Moving on, anyone in the room or on the call with any unfinished business? Anybody? All right, how about new business?
I guess I already brought it up, so if you can put those notes on the new business.
Yeah, for the signage on 5th Avenue.
Signs.
So
And TD.
back when we were doing the branding. And then there were discussions about, the future construction project and whether Main Street signage would change. We'd get new, or if it was gonna be homogenized.
So not for the avenue signs.
Yep. So that was a fairly extensive, right down to design and selection, as best I remember.
For the Main Street signs.
Well, and so,
Yeah,
so I guess what we really need to do is resurrect where that fell off the table, or if it's in a old mode somewhere.
so what we've got to figure out is where they can go on the street that's like, because now after the street's done and everything, I'm really worried about them getting clipped at the corners there. So one thing and I put this in that grant application, because what I'm thinking might work. And we can kind of bring this to community character to talk more about it. And we've got those electrical boxes that are kind of at the areas where signs would go. And so I'm wondering if maybe doing like a wrap on those might kind of kill two birds with one stone kind of thing, because I'm the corners, because they would be on corners, and every corner that's there has been just trampled
Yeah,
by trucks.
That's not gonna work. It's not,
It's like,
that's not gonna change. It's not gonna change anything.
Yes, so that's where it's a little,
So is a bollard out of the question?
What?
Bollards. Yes.
necessarily, not, I don't have an answer for that, but I can,
Because, those, both corners are a problem.
yeah, and the sign would just get,
The only way you're gonna stop it is to cause damage.
yeah, I can,
But a bollard might be something that the city doesn't allow in that
yeah.
close proximity to a sidewalk.
Mhm.
I don't.
Yeah, no, that's a good thought on that. I have been thinking about the signs, but I've just
so on those,
figured out where they could go.
on those signs, are we synergizing the look to Main Street, or are we still kind of thinking something, a different look for Seventh Ave?
I think that'd probably be where, because I don't think we finalized that in those discussions, because I think we probably would, I think the sign style would be the same, but then the coloring would maybe match some of the branding on
I
Seventh.
thought we were going to put, the mosaic or.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but the actual like physical.
The idea, we would be using the branding that had already been done for something,
Yeah.
that we haven't, and we've just scratched the surface on using that branding that
Yeah.
yet, so.
Well, and that's why, talking to some of the newer businesses, they were surprised it was called the creative district. They had no idea.
Well, there's a lot in that branding package too. So we've used some of it, but there's a lot of it we haven't really used. There's a lot. in
Newer
there.
businesses.
Yeah, it was pretty thorough. That's a pretty thorough branding package.
There was a lot of involvement. in that
No, I know.
process.
Yeah, but I mean, there's new businesses now that I've never heard of.
Mhm.
What is the chances that some of the businesses down there allowing you to do signs on the corner of their building? Like if you.
It's a possibility.
If you had on the upper part of the street, you've got the end of Marcos and the end of Claywood right there that could advertise everybody going down. You've got corner of a building right there at Locust that could advertise everybody going back. You got the corner at Maple that you could advertise on the corner, everybody down one side. And then Mad Scientist corner going back down
Yeah.
towards the Mission.
That's all.
And then,
Bellwethers and like Yellow Cottage, they put their sign in front of my store all the time. It's fine.
and like, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Your white gut corner is, you got that big wall at the Brandy Bar
Mhm.
and stuff like that. That would keep them on the street or off the corners for a
Yeah.
while, and it would have to get somebody some signage.
Yeah,
Just to get on the same page here, because I'm a little sidetracked, because I do remember I don't remember in detail, but I do remember the discussions about it. So like, if we're looking at, are we talking about Seventh Avenue and Main Street? Are we talking right now specifically about Seventh?
Main Street.
Like, so Main Street, the city signage for Main Street is for the businesses on the avenues.
Mhm.
There's no signage for the businesses on Main Street. Okay,
Yeah, so it's for the side
So-
streets.
I mean, so we're talking about having city signage for the businesses on Seventh Avenue?
Their own signage.
The merchants own
Yeah.
signage.
Like I thought it was more like the directory signs.
Seventh Avenue would be a side street to 64, basically.
Yeah,
By there, you look, and it's like, oh, you got da. There's a whole list of businesses all the way down the street, and then as you get in, there's a whole list of businesses for off to the left and off to the right.
Yeah, Locust and Maple definitely want.
see, I mean, initially I'd be like that to me, initially that makes sense to have something like you have styled on Main Street for Locust and for Maple, because there are active businesses on those streets. But as far as doing signage for the businesses on Seventh Avenue, city provided signage, where would that be? And what would that look like? Because I'm just.
Yeah.
Well, there's no precedent for that.
Yeah,
because,
because you.
Yeah, I guess, yeah,
anything on the side streets. So our side streets are not avenues, they're streets.
yeah,
We've got Seventh Avenue, which is our main street, and then we've got basically Maple and Lucas that have active businesses on them.
yeah, I think that we need to probably talk through this more on the committee level, because we've got the template of the physical sign.
Wayfinding thing.
And then they can be, with the branding and everything, but then the locations and that, because I think that's I don't know that we necessarily have that all figured out.
As far as the businesses on Seventh Avenue needing additional signage, I'm not trying to,
You don't need it as much as the side street.
why do that? What's a precedent for that? It's like, we have a heavily traffic corridor there on Seventh Avenue, pedestrian and vehicles. I don't think the businesses need additional city provided signage for their business.
Yeah, and those signs,
Down the streets, hey, down Maple, down Locust, we have some really interesting businesses and shops going down. That to me makes sense, and that's now a new business, so it's part of the discussion here, and that should be kept the community.
When it was mentioned for, I think, the one on Seventh Avenue, it was, because we get a lot of traffic from Locust, they cut from North Main and come down that way, and they get to Seventh, and I guess maybe that's why some of the business were saying, well, let them know turn left, we're over here.
yeah, because it's really more for pedestrian oriented, so it'd be, the ones on the street or on Main Street are, because it's really like, in my mind, it's people who are walking down Seventh to know, oh, I can turn onto Locust or I can turn onto Maple and see stuff.
That's right at the block.
I mean,
Yeah, I think that probably.
as far as Seventh right now, the traffic, pedestrian and mainly vehicular, they're driving very slow and they're checking everything out. So I'm just saying, that's what I see. So as far as additionals, I just don't see, I don't necessarily see that as a priority, but.
For Seventh Avenue.
For Seventh, yeah.
So we just gotta make sure.
But basically riffing off of what we have already established on Main Street with the additional city provided signage with the piles that can be replaced. Otherwise, I think especially with for the gateway entrances to Seventh Avenue, right now, everything looks nice and clean and tight and good, you know what I mean? And it's like, and I think there's definitely an opportunity to work in more of the branding resources that we have. So, as far as additional ideas for that, but I'm told not to be in favor, even on a fast track to developing signage like you have for the avenues off of Main Street. For Maple and for.
So we kick
Locust.
it to new character, and then I'll talk with the city departments on if they have any kind of ideas on where they might can go.
I thought in the discussion that the city has street sign, that's a requirement. They have to put those up, and the only place we don't have them is on Locust. Right? The rest of the streets are all identified. Now, whether that's the, up-to-date future design for that street sign, I don't know.
There's not a street sign at that intersection there for Locust? Oh. I'll find out all that too.
If there is, then.
At Seventh and Locust?
Yeah.
There's not just like a green sign that says Locust Street there?
Maybe.
Oh, I need to go back.
Maybe.
There was.
Wasn't there?
Hell, it's been under in streetscape and nobody put it back up.
It may have been.
I'll look at it.
But I think what we were talking about during branding and all that discussion was the direction. Okay? Well, I'm going, down every street and
So maybe.
saying who's up here, but, we were gonna have a directory of some kind that,
Yeah, I think, again, it's better for committee discussion, but I think we might be better doing something. Not exactly like what the TDA has down there, but just like a map of, like a directory map that's at like in front of Kilpatrick's area or somewhere like that, that's got like a informational kiosk kind of thing, might be a better.
and that's for
Route for it.
pedestrians. It's not for
Yeah.
drivers. You don't want drivers trying to read a
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, okay, well,
directory sign.
I'll just say this too, like if you're looking for something, to appeal to drivers of vehicular traffic, maybe doing something that's a little bit more broad, like, Seventh Avenue District.
Yeah.
Shops, dining, galleries, this way kind of thing.
yeah, I think we can do something like that.
Individual businesses on there, but,
Yeah,
something a little bit more impact, like a little bit larger image kind of.
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Especially with the branding that we have, but the branding that we have is very impactful. I mean, it's like, it's fantastic. when we got that toolkit, we were just like going through it, just drooling, like, God, there's so much here. So, yeah, I think that, so that's on our docket and it's on community characters docket.
Great.
All right,
Did we need any more update on what's going on with the changing of the zoning for that area? of-
Not
Or no?
I think that, I think that went to council. I think that most of them already approved it, yeah.
that's a done deal, isn't it?
Yeah, we approved several parcels at the last meeting and apparently there's a couple more that we'll be doing.
That they are transferring it to the new zoning.
So there was no opposition.
They have to elect to do it, and so,
Yeah, so if they don't do it, then they'll just be like an island of their own zoning.
yeah.
Right.
That's up on them, yeah.
And then just, can you give us any more updates on the Cedars Fairmont? Just still looking at maybe next year's specs?
I don't have anything other than they waiting to secure the last of their funding.
I saw a crane moving this morning.
A rotating.
It's windy out.
Maybe that's what they were doing, but I was like, maybe it's close there.
First thing with that, but that's.
I hope they own that thing, because I can't imagine what the.
All right, well, I think that falls under informal discussion. We just did.
All right.
All right, everybody, unless there's anything else, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I got one side point. Debbie wanted me to mention that the Peppermint Bear is on Seventh Avenue at Bellwether's and Celtic Green.
Good. Wait, the motion to adjourn.
Celtic Green.
A motion to adjourn, really?
Well, that's good.
Motion to adjourn, anyone?
I move that we adjourn.
All right, there's
Second.
my second. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.